Hey guys, so I'm finally back using my camera and not just my phone. I'm heading to the gym and today I actually want to work on some muscle imbalances. I noticed today when I took my progress pictures that I have a great deal of muscle imbalances right now, and that's something that I don't want to have when I get on stage, right? So the best thing for me is to start working on those imbalances now. Biggest thing I'm noticing is that I have a glute imbalance. So right now my left glute is more underdeveloped than my right. So from the right side, that shit is hitting, but from the left side, she's slacking. And then same thing with my quads and my hamstrings on the left side. So wanting to more develop that, which means just I'm right side dominant, makes sense. I'm right-handed. Means I just really want to start working on more unilateral movements. So I'm going to actually just show you some of the movements I am working with today and that I'm working on today, and what I'm going to do to try to correct that. I'll probably add in these movements every time I hit legs, which is literally every workout, adding in more unilateral movements. So yeah, here we go to the gym. Oh, and I'm taking the kids with me today.
All right, so getting to the gym, I love to start with the liquid IV, just something I like to have as I am doing my workout. And because it is leg day, I'm starting with some gentle movement and stretching. I generally like to do lunges. I like to do just getting down and making sure that my legs are completely stretched out so that I can be the best possible with my squats. I also like to honestly stretch out my ankles because my ankle mobility is actually the biggest problem I have in my squats. And so I like to make sure that my lower body is completely stretched out and feeling good. Today we are actually starting off with squats and we are working our way up with those, and obviously those aren't a movement that are going to work on my muscle imbalances, but obviously I also want to work on movements and making sure that I'm feeling my glutes in movements that are bilateral, so movements that are going to be on both sides. However, with that, I originally had barbell RDLs and I switched those out for dumbbell RDLs. I got a 60-pound dumbbell and I am working here to kind of work on both sides. So what I'm actually doing to work on both sides in this case is I'm actually going to do more reps on my left side than my right. So I'm going to give a little bit of overload to that left side so that I can try to work it a little bit harder. So I'm still working that right side, but I'm also wanting to work that left side a little bit more so that I can bring up those muscles a little bit more. And after I'm done with all of my RDLs on that left side, what I'm also going to do is some body weight movement. And you'll see that as I go throughout this workout that I not only do unilateral movements, so movements that are on one side, but then I try to work on imbalances by doing simple body weight movements to also work those muscles. This next move is another great example of how I am working my body unilaterally. So I generally do hip thrusts with a barbell. However, I wanted to bring the intensity down. I have a 60-pound dumbbell here, and I wanted to bring the intensity down a little bit so that I could work on each glute on its own. So here you can see me working my right side, and the same thing as what I did before. I'm working that right side, and then when I switch over to that left side, I not only am going to make sure that I'm firing off in that left side glute and that I feel it a little bit more over there, but I'm also going to focus a lot more on making sure I'm having additional reps on that side so that I can continue working those muscles without working that right side and try to bring up that imbalance. Something that many people have told me is that you want to make sure that even when you're practicing posing and things like that, that you are making sure you're doing that on both sides. And that is something that as I'm starting to go into this process, I'm realizing is very important, working on both sides. Now, I generally do a lot of my movements, singular. I generally do a lot of my movements together. I do, barbell back squats, I do hip thrusts, I do RDLs, all with the barbell. So I'm working both sides at the same time. However, I found it really important to add in these unilateral movements. And so I've been doing that, and I'm going to add them in at least 1 to 2 times a week, working on my legs unilaterally to bring up my glutes on that left side. So you can see here that when I am doing the Bulgarian split squats, I had no problem on the right side, but on the left side, I'm definitely having a lot more weakness. I find it a little bit more difficult to push up this weight, and so it just shows that even that left side is a little bit weaker overall. So after I'm done with those movements with the dumbbell, I'm going to go ahead and drop that weight and go ahead and rep out some additional body weight on that side. Last movement I'm working on here, and the way that I used it unilaterally, is I am working on leg extensions, which is not a movement that I actually do very often, but I had them in the plan, threw them in the plan, love them in this plan. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually going to do them together, and then I'm going to drop the weight and I'm going to work on just my left side. So I'm dropping that weight, working on my left side a little bit more, and I'm going to do the same amount of reps this time on both my left side and my right side. However, I'm going to do less actual weight on that right side. So I did 30 pounds for single leg leg extensions on that left side, and then on the right side I did 20 pounds. And I don't know who the hell I'm texting right here. Probably my friends Allison and Jenny, but it could be anybody. Shit, I could be texting you right now. Who the heck knows? But from there, I'm going to really have that burnout and continue to push myself with these movements.
Able to work on some things, some muscle imbalances in my glutes and my hamstrings. So you saw that I did some sets that were completely like both sides, and then I did some sets that were just single-sided for my left side, which is the side that has the imbalance, more body weight work there. And then I kept the weight kind of moderate and relative for my right side. So I'm still working that and still working on building muscle there, but also then building up the muscle on my left side by adding weight and adding in, you know, single-sided reps that were a little bit more heavily weighted. So that's something that I will continue to add in maybe once a week, but continuing to make sure that my glutes are firing in my left side. That's something I often don't feel. And then on top of that, I don't know if you noticed, in my Bulgarian split squat, I actually had to pause a lot for my left side, because you can just tell that with that same weight, it's just the weaker side. So that's just something I'm going to continue working on so that we can have a nice rounded and full glute on both sides, as well as just having a symmetrical body in general. But all that being said, we're heading home. It is nap time for Tyson. Let's do this again sometime. Bada bing, bada boom. I will see you soon.